know who you are. I thought, finally, sometimes people don't know me with my stick, or it's been a long time since I was in the papers with lastminute.com. They said, yes, you're that .com dinosaur. I was like, what? Dinosaur? I'm 44, thanks very much. I don't want to be a dinosaur yet. But they had a point, because my experience of the internet started back in the dawn of time, in the relative dinosaur age of technology. Brent and I started lastminute.com in 1997, and it seems kind of strange, but it's worth reflecting on for a minute, that at that time, our fight wasn't to pitch to investors like Deborah really about the merits of lastminute.com. It was more about the merits of the internet itself. Was it really going to survive? Were people really going to put their credit card details into a computer? I remember having so many conversations with the one or two investors that were even interested in talking to us about the safety of whether the internet was going to blow up, quite literally. Was it really something that we thought people were going to use and that was going to grow over time? How quickly things have changed. Some things miraculously for small businesses like yours, and some things much, much harder. One of the things that I come back to all the time is how very, very fast the pace of change has become now. When we started in 97, 98, the world was speeding up, the internet was emerging, but it still felt like you could sort of get your head around what the future was going to look like. You'd always get it wrong, but you could always have a go at imagining it. Now, just nearly 20 years later, I find myself really confused about what the future will be. And that's hard if you're running a small business. It's hard if you're running a big business. It's hard if you're running a country. But it's also exciting. The reason that I love the internet and love what it can do is that it does empower people to make different decisions, better choices, both as consumers, but also people who face tough circumstances, given this incredibly powerful tool, can help make more decisions about their own lives. The reason that lastminute.com was invented was because my co-founder Brent was always trying to arrange things at the last minute on a Friday night. We worked together as consultants, and he would always spend about an hour and a half on a Friday organising restaurant bookings, working out if he could go away to a hotel. His parents lived in another country, how could he get a cheap flight? And he just thought there is an easier way of doing this. And that's the thing, to me, about great internet businesses. They start with that user need. And it's really, really easy to see the dividing line between businesses that, to my mind, have thought about that user very carefully, and businesses that still are kind of nebulous, haven't really pinned down who that user is and what they want to do with the service. And that was the great thing for us about lastminute.com, because we were the primary users, so we could work out whether or not we thought it was a good idea, because would we use that? And I think that that is one of the things that is fundamental about any online business, any business probably. But the exciting thing about an internet-enabled business is that you can keep testing all the time about whether this is what your users want. Now, this generally goes well, but sometimes not so well. And I'm going to share with you one of the examples of when we thought we'd done something terribly clever. We copied Amazon's fast buy function. Now, that doesn't seem very exciting now, but in 1999, to be able to press one button, have all your details populated on the website, credit card details, the same delivery address, everything, felt like a massive leap forward. Brent, I remember jumping up and down with excitement that we'd finally got this thing live on our website. All was well, until about 2 days later when one of the customer service team came up to my desk and just stood there like this, looking absolutely ashen. And I said, what's the matter? I said, well, somebody's called us, it's a guy. He just won't stop swearing down the telephone. I was like, no problem, I can deal with this. I was always taking customer service calls and trying to turn them into people that love the business. No problem, I thought, I've done this loads of times. Got the phone. This man swore at me for about 2 minutes, just shouting and shouting. And finally, I realised it was about the fast buy function. I think, why on earth is the fast buy function causing such a kerfuffle? Well, it turns out it's fine if you're using it to go on the same holiday with your family and your wife and all of the things that we thought you would always be replicating. It's less good if you're planning a mini break with someone that maybe you don't want your wife to know that you're going on a mini break with. That was pretty bad. But all I could do was send a bunch of flowers to his wife, which I did. So I tell that amazing opportunities that the internet enables is building for scale and having a global reach without necessarily having a global physical presence. Now, it's kind of fascinating to me that UK businesses don't export as much as we could. Arguably, that's one of our biggest productivity challenges, and yet we have this tool that might enable us to do it. And look at the biggest difference in the world of technology 20 years ago to now. The huge scale platform businesses. Those businesses in Silicon Valley, and I should know because I now sit on the board of one, they don't think about just one local market, they immediately think global. And I would argue we in Britain, and in some other countries too, still need to have that global perspective, to think about building for scale right at the start of our businesses. And that is one of the most disruptive and different things about the world we live in today. I don't want to live in a world where it's a handful of small companies from a very small bit of the world that are dominating our experiences. We need to be bolder about grabbing that incredible ability to be in so many places at once. It's not easy, it requires skills. Some of the work that I've done with my charity Everyone is showing how small and medium businesses still lack some of those digital skills to build for scale. But I would urge you to think about that global reach now more than ever. It's vital that we're thinking about how to use these technology platforms to reach more markets more quickly in more places. That's the second point. So focus on the user, the right user, build for scale, think global, we've got all these tools to do that. And the final thing that I'd say is think about diversity and inclusion. Obviously, I very, very, very strongly believe that unless we include women in our entrepreneurialism and in our tech sector, then we're not going to be in a very robust position in the future. I would say that. I'm a young woman. The data bears it out as well, though. More diverse companies, I'm sure you've heard the stats, do better, create better products, and so on. But this is profoundly important in the new world. It's incredibly important. Because unless we design for the most broad group of people, then we're not going to have such good products and services. I think putting that diversity and inclusion of design at the heart of your businesses is fundamental in building better services. And in technology, that's more important than ever. I spend a lot of my time now talking about designing for the furthest first. And by that, I mean, if you think about the people who are not the first early adopters, you'll catch them with your products and services always, but the people for whom it's a stretch to use the service and you design for them, you will inherently be able to include everybody else. And that is one of, again, the most incredible things about the technology world that I see, that you can design for these further to reach people and you can help empower and improve their lives. The world has changed immeasurably over the last 20 years. I feel immensely lucky to have been a part of it. I believe so deeply that in the UK, post-Brexit, if we want to have as strong and robust an economy as we should put the digital economy at the heart of it. To me, the internet is the organising principle of our age, and yet we're not really organised around it as a country. We need much better quality infrastructure, we need to focus on skills, and we need all of the businesses that Sage represents and you represent to power up the economy using technology in the most spectacular way. So I urge you on. I'm an old has-been dinosaur now. You are the people that are going to take this forward. I just give you courage and confidence that the world is an amazing and awesome place. We just need to reach it through better use of technology. Thank you.